Sonic the Hedgehog's speed is unparalleled, and the only thing on this earth that can outmatch it is his popularity. A few video game characters are as iconic as the blue blur, but we're here specifically to celebrate the mainline Sonic video game series and pick the very best. Now, as for our criteria here at IGN, we tried to rank these games based on historical significance, innovation, and how well these games stand the test of time. Now, some games like Sonic Adventure 1 and the original Sonic the Hedgehog are important to the Sonic series and set the very foundation for both 2D and 3D Sonic games to follow. But we felt they both didn't quite hold up as well as their sequels when judged by a modern standard, so they just missed a place on this list. But that doesn't diminish their relevance and impact on the Sonic franchise, not at all. Now, the 10 games on this list are the ones we feel are the best examples of both classic and modern day Sonic style. So, with that said, here are our picks for the 10 best Sonic games as chosen by a handful of IGN's biggest Sonic fans. Sonic Frontiers is an undeniably messy first attempt at a more open Sonic game, but underneath all the jankiness and pop-in lies a great foundation for the series to improve upon in the future. Now, released in November of 2022, boosting around Frontiers' set of open zones is genuinely fun. Now, completing platforming challenges to upgrade Sonic skills and improve the island's traversable rail system creates a constant sense of progression as you explore at your very own pace. The Starfall Islands is the Sonic series' first real open world, which drops you on a map with the ability to go anywhere your curiosity draws you to. Plus, the combat and enemy design play to Sonic's speedy strengths, with flashy encounters peppered throughout that don't overstay their welcome like Sonic Unleash's infamous Werehog bits, though that particular game is also one of our favorites. Now, all that combined with a decent set of traditional modern Sonic levels and the best use of Super Sonic the series has ever seen makes for a solid 3D Sonic game unlike any of the other entries on this list. Now, while IGN might have given this particular game a significantly low score upon its release, the ardent fans of Sonic here at IGN consider this one to be one of those chaos diamonds in the rough, you could say. The Sonic Unleashed gets a bad rap, and conversation surrounding it often focuses on its weaker elements, specifically the Werehog bits. Now, a lot of the criticism is warranted, but it also shouldn't entirely take away from the fact that when Sonic Unleashed is good, it's some of the best 3D Sonic there's ever been. Released in November of 2002, Unleashed remains one of the best looking Sonic games despite being several years old. Now, the soundtrack is fantastic, and above all else, Sonic Unleashed feels fast, which is important for any Sonic game. Now, it totally nails that sensation of being the fastest thing alive as you tear through levels, leaving a trail of absolute destruction full of crushed boxes, tables, enemies, and more. It's the most uneven of the mainline Sonic games, but we still feel it deserves a spot on this list. Now, we definitely had to take a look at Sonic's roots and dash back to his Genesis days. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is still one of the best pure experiences of the Sonic franchise. It introduces us to his flying sidekick Tails, adds two-player co-op, and improves upon the formula established by the first game in just about every way. There's more zones, new enemies, new mechanics, and abilities while keeping true to the core essence of a Sonic game. You gotta go fast. The new zones like Sky Chase gave us our first look at the Tornado, Tails' biplane, and the Death Egg Zone pits us against an early version of an enemy that eventually became Metal Sonic. Sonic 2 also introduced the supersonic transformation into the franchise by having players collect all 7 Chaos Emeralds in a welcome improvement to bonus stages. Sonic 2 is still one of the best sequels to its lengthy list of improvements and additions that still holds up to this day for both newcomers and veterans. Speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic CD feels like a more polished and confident version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It introduces us to Amy Rose and the version of Metal Sonic that we all know and loathe today. But the real star of the show in Sonic CD is its use of time travel, where you can go to the past, present, or future of the zones you're in. Now, the thrill of starting the time travel star boost and trying to maintain your speed to make sure you properly get transported to the past or future is always exciting. Now, you never know if you're going to successfully get to where you need to go or where you're going, and that is part of the adventure, the Sonic adventure. Now, Sonic CD doesn't need this extra gameplay mechanic, but it had it anyway. And since Sonic is trying to collect the time stones to ensure a good future where Eggman's plans are foiled, well, Sonic CD basically did Avengers Endgame in 1993. That blue blur was ahead of his time. Damn. And that theme song, legendary. Now that's one thing across the board the Sonic games do right. I gotta say, catchy tunes no matter what. As you can already tell, the Genesis era Sonic games are well represented on this list for a plethora of reasons. Now, each release on the Sega console got better while introducing new playable characters and mechanics. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, released back in 1994, feels like a superior experience of the early days of Sonic. Now, while both are solid games as individuals, they feel incomplete. And so this combination offers a complete and rich experience. The level designs are some of the best in 2D Sonic history. Now, while it certainly felt built and made for newcomer Knuckles, the levels still accommodate the playstyles and strengths for that of Sonic and Tails. Sonic Colors has some of the most imaginative and thrilling level designs in the entire Sonic franchise, bar none. Aquarium Park, for example, is arguably the best water level throughout the whole series. Asteroid Coaster, another standout zone in Sonic Colors, is just phenomenal in every aspect. And Starlight Carnival, while heavily on rails, the sheer spectacle is a sight to behold. Now, Sonic Colors does an excellent job of blending that high-speed boost-centric style with more methodical platforming and puzzle segments, while also filling every level with multiple paths. Now, back in 2010, and even to this day, Sonic Colors checks all the boxes. Now, on top of having an impressive soundtrack, great visuals, and smooth gameplay, Sonic Colors is one game that any Sonic fan out there can enjoy to this day. Sonic's 10th anniversary saw the release of Sonic Adventure, but 2001 also saw the release of a 2D Sonic game, Sonic Advance, for the Game Boy Advance. Now, marking the first time Sonic made his way onto a Nintendo console, a historical moment for our little blue friend after decades of console wars between Nintendo and Sega fans. Now, Sonic Advance keeps the heart and soul of classic Sonic while also updating his sprite and his abilities to be more in line with the emerging modern Sonic design. Sonic can grind on rails, there's a tiny Chow garden, and just overall, Sonic is far more expressive than in the older 2D Sonic games. Now, while the entire Sonic Advance trilogy includes some of Sonic's best 2D outings from the post-Genesis era, Sonic Advance remains the best in terms of consistency. It's not only a great starting point for the Game Boy Advance series, but also had some of the best level variety out of the entire Sonic Advance trilogy. And it's a bit of a shame that Sega has yet to release or re-release these games beyond the Game Boy Sonic Adventure 1 laid the foundation for what we'd soon experience in its sequel, Sonic Adventure 2. The Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is the GameCube port of Sonic Adventure 2, which improves the base game with better textures, multiplayer, new upgrades, and exclusive characters. Now, that base version of Sonic Adventure 2 is already damn good in and of itself and still stands tall to this day as one of the most beloved 3D Sonic games of all time. The parts of the game even made their way into the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. Unsurprisingly, especially since the film featured Shadow the Hedgehog, who made his debut in the second installment of the Adventure series. Now, while the Sonic and Shadow stages are obviously the highlights with their fast-paced, action-heavy gameplay, there's a great blend of gameplay styling between the various different playable characters as well. Now, on top of all of that, Battle adds characters like Metal Sonic, Amy Rose in foot races, the ability to challenge friends in kart races, or have their chows compete. And then, of course, there's both the much beloved Chow Garden and that unforgettable soundtrack that just echoes in every Sonic fan's mind. Sonic Mania is easily one of the best 2D Sonic games since Sega pivoted to strictly third-party. A game made by fans for fans, Sonic Mania is a love letter to the Blue Hedgehog. Mania offers a fresh perspective of what put Sonic on the map, remixing the classic formula thanks to longtime fan and indie game dev Christian Whitehead's retro engine. It did all this while offering fast-paced gameplay, superb level design, and excellent pixel art. Sonic Mania would have been great even if it just stuck to the remastered and new versions of previous Sonic zones, but what truly makes it sing are the entirely original stages. Levels like Studiopolis and Mirage Saloon Zone offer the perfect counterpart to the comforting familiarity of the remastered stages. Replayability is also among the highest compared to other 2D Sonic games, thanks to the multitude of collectibles and rewards found off the beaten path. For those reasons, Sonic Mania is our pick for the best 2D Sonic game you can play. And it is wholeheartedly a Sonic game that every single Sonic fan should play at least once. When looking at the lengthy list of games featuring our favorite blue blur, there really is only one game currently to put at the tippy top, and that's 2024's Sonic X Shadow Generations. A remaster of Sonic Generations that revisits and remixes some of the best stages, music, and bosses we've gotten across generations of Sonic games. Sonic Generations was already many people's favorites in the franchise, and for good reason. But now, with the addition of Shadow, it's gotten even better. Even in 2025, Sonic Generations remains the greatest celebration of Sonic's history, and in our opinion, the best combination of both classic and modern-day Sonic gameplay styling. So, a remaster of this classic game is one that was welcomed among fans. Shadow's content absolutely shines in both 2D and 3D, and everything from its level design to his abilities and how they synergize are the new gold standard for Sonic games. Now, this remaster soars far above previous remasters we've gotten in the Sonic franchise and hopefully will be the roadmap for future Sonic video games. Sonic Generations on its own is a game designed to evoke nostalgia, but it never falls into the trap of relying entirely on fuzzy feelings from the past. And with the addition of Shadow's story during this time, we're treated to an all-new experience that seamlessly interweaves itself into the original Generations storyline. Sonic X Shadow Generations manages to incorporate all the elements that make 3D Sonic so damn special, all while finding ways to make them feel distinct and fresh, especially with the inclusion of the expansive Shadow the Hedgehog portion. All these things result in an unforgettable Sonic video game that at the time simultaneously takes us back to the past, gives us a glimpse at its future, all to find its way as our top pick for the best Sonic game to date. So those are our picks for the top 10 Sonic video games to date. Obviously, Sonic has way more road ahead of him, so there's bound to be future classics to add to this list. Now, would love to know what your thoughts are on our top picks and share with us your fond memories of these Sonic titles. Also, this is our list here at IGN. Please feel free to share with us your top 10 Sonic games in the comments down below. Even us here at IGN have vastly differing lists to this one, so we'd love to hear what you all think. And for more on Sonic, keep it locked right here on IGN.